Hello everyone, and tonight is our second run at the friggin' Fancast on episode 12 of Comic Relief, the live weekly talk show for all things comics, castings, and anything else that makes you want to get nerdy with it. We are your hosts. I'm Xndr.
And I'm Jagger.
And tonight, like I said, we are doing the friggin' Fancast for the MCU's recently-ish announced X-Men property, the Mutants. Joining us tonight when he's not making smooth beats on stream, he's running his games beyond expert level, and the front man for differences, Shonzza.
Hey, hello, hi.
And next up we have the lead vocalist for Savage Hands, and someone I consider to be one of my oldest friends, second only to his cousin, the Loba main himself, Mike Garrow.
What's up?
What's going on, guys?
Nada.
Yeah, good man. We're excited. I'm excited to be among my people with nerds.
I'm kind of curious to see Shonzza's picks tonight, because I remember seeing some of his tweets over the course of the past weeks, and I saw some wild character names in there.
Yeah, so just a heads up, I am what people tend to call an idiot. So I'm gonna have some very, very colorful characters in there, because we gotta switch it up. We've seen the general people, we gotta switch it up a little bit. Okay. So I got some choices in there.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm excited to hear.
But before we get into our little fan casting here, we're gonna go ahead and start off with a little bit of nerd news. You want to take it away, Jagger?
All right, starting out with news that I'm actually surprisingly happy to hear. Jupiter's Legacy has been officially canceled. They are not renewing it for a second season. The first season was such a mess, and they've got such critical reviews on it that they were just like, nah, we're not doing it. Cut our ties. Release the characters from their contracts, and they're just ending it as is. And I am 100% okay with it.
Yeah, because I mean, the biggest issue was the pacing, honestly. It was just
so
all
bad.
over the place.
It was so bad. Next, we have a lot of Spider-Man No Way Home rumors. The plot has been leaked, supposedly. There's rumors that Lizard, Rhino, and Green Goblin from their respective properties with Sam Raimi and
Mark Webb.
Mark Webb. I always forget who directed The Amazing Spider-Man. I always just say the Garfield ones.
Which is hilarious, because like that name seems like it should be so synonymous with Spider-Man.
Right,
Mark
exactly.
Webb.
I'm like, of course he's Webb. But they're saying that Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is set to be the main villain. It's supposed to be running around the Sinister Six idea.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina has confirmed that his storyline picks up almost directly after he's in the river at the end of Spider-Man 2. So
yeah, which I feel is kind of weird. But then also, I've also heard that they're supposedly like, so we recognize them as characters from the previous franchises, but there's a possibility that some of them are a little bit tweaked because those specific characters kind of ran a little bit parallel to what we know. Yeah. So it's like they're from a universe that's very similar but different. Yeah. Same, but different.
Yeah. And we're also expecting to get a trailer within the next 2 weeks. There's been people leaking and making fake title cards and saying, "Oh, I've seen the trailer. Theaters have the teaser trailer. It's supposed to drop with this movie that comes out this weekend." And it's like, no, it's within the next couple weeks. We're supposed to get a trailer. Yeah. I know our boy Xndr is clamoring at a trailer. He fell for the Sony Entertainment Rickroll that happened earlier this week.
Yeah, well, so did you.
Wait, what happened there?
Oh, so Sony Entertainment released the trailer. It starts out with the original MCU Sony title card. It shows Tom Holland in his suit. Everything starts talking, and then it's a Rickroll. But it came directly from Sony Entertainment because everybody was like, "Oh, the trailer drops today. The trailer drops today." And they're like, "All right, y'all want a trailer? Here's a trailer."
It was a legitimate Rickroll from Sony themselves?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you play the game. That's how you do it.
It was so devastating. Like, I think Xndr talked to me a lot less that day after I sent him that.
Yeah. No, as soon as like I was watching it, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, fuck off.
You gotta be born and bred in this internet blood, man.
Oh yeah. God, it was terrible, dude. Let's see. Next up, we have some somewhat scandalous news with Taika Waititi. So there were photos taken of Taika Waititi with Rita Ora and Tessa Thompson sharing a nice little three-way smoocher.
At his house.
And, like it went absolutely viral. And
saucy.
supposedly Disney had reprimanded both Tessa Thompson and Taika Waititi. And funnily enough, I say reprimanded because they're fully aware of Taika Waititi's capability as a director.
And a lover.
And a lover.
But
But as well as Tessa Thompson's ability to act.
right.
So they're not going to do what they did with James Gunn and drop James Gunn because of previous tweets. They're like basically giving him a slap on the wrist from what I know so far.
Well, I mean, the movie is called Love and Thunder, so
right.
I mean,
that man bringing the thunder. I was gonna say the fact that like after seeing that picture, I have never been so jealous and wanted to be Tessa Thompson. Could you imagine kissing him? Like, could you imagine the
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect it to get that.
Like, bro, like can you imagine the energy this man has? Like it's
Fair.
insane.
That is fair. I've seen Jojo Rabbit. I've seen Jojo.
You have to have the cojones the size of I don't even know to pull off that, and he did like flawlessly. So yeah, I'm totally jealous. Totally jealous.
The biggest thing for me is that these pictures were taken in his home.
Yeah,
where he has a rightful expectation of privacy. There's no reason. There's no reason those photos should have been out there in the first place. Which is why I honestly think that Disney shouldn't have reprimanded him at all. Like, let the man live. Let the man.
I honestly think that it was on purpose. I think
maybe
because you got to think he started coming under scrutiny for stuff right before Ragnarok came out too. Like he started living it up a little bit more. He was hyping himself up on social media, and he became like a trending topic for like 2 weeks. And then more news from Ragnarok came out, and the movie blew up. So I'm thinking this might just be his like go-to thing when he's doing a Marvel movie. It's just like, hey, how much can I push the envelope and get us all like trending? So then everyone's gonna be like,
a good time,
right? And have a good time. I mean, come on, like Tessa Thompson and Rita Ora, like bro.
Like,
I mean, you had me at Rita Ora. I'm like, damn.
Yeah,
I always wanted to be her, but now I really want to be her. You know, this is crazy.
I've learned so much about you already. It's only been like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh, strap yourself in. We getting wild.
I'm ready.
Just wait until we get into these characters. Last bit of news. We got Aaron Taylor Johnson, previously known as Quicksilver in the MCU, being cast as Kraven the Hunter for a standalone Sony Pictures Kraven film,
which is also being tied into the MCU reportedly.
Yes.
Okay, that threw me off. I thought you were going to say he's also going to be in the Spider-Man movie. He's getting his own movie?
He's getting his own movie. It's going to be along the same lines as how they're doing with Venom and Morbius and Black Cat.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't even have a joke for that one. That's just okay. All right, moving on. I guess you go ahead.
Yeah. We'll have more details on it as it like develops, as they reveal plot or how they're going to do it when it's coming out. But they seem to be doing this thing where they're casting the villains first and then revealing it's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're doing a Kraven movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, on paper, this sounds like great. Yeah. It really does sound great. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah. Because off the heels of that, they announced that they are continuing on with their previously planned Black Cat film.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're still Silver Sable still is on the cutting room floor. They're not doing that one anymore because it's not as exciting. Yeah, there was supposed to be. So when Venom did well and when they struck the deal with Disney, Sony announced they were doing more Spider-Man films. They were going to do a couple Venom films, Black Cat, Silver Sable, Morbius, and there was a rumored Silk movie.
I heard about that one.
Silver Sable got scrapped, Black Cat got canceled, and now Black Cat's being revived. But they're still canceling Silver Sable and they're denying all rumors of Silk. So I'm thinking with Silk getting her own comic book storyline already, they might capitalize on that in a couple years.
Yeah.
I just hope they find the like Halle Berry equivalent No, she did Catwoman. I hope they find that for a Black Cat movie. I hope so. I don't. Who is the equivalent? Is there like a Jennifer Lawrence? Do we get like Jennifer Lawrence to play Black Cat?
Probably at
That'd
this point. Oh my god, make it campy as all hell.
Oh god, please no.
Oh man,
I can't even joke about that one.
But it's gonna be great.
Look at that, Craven and Black Cat dropping the jokes.
Yep, exactly what we needed.
No, dude, they need to bring back Megan Fox to the cinematic world. Just
That's
her in there.
That's not even a joke. That's serious. That's a great take right there. Everybody, okay, that's the podcast, right? That's the whole Fancast. We got it.
Yeah,
down.
that's the whole Fancast.
We'll shut it down now. We'll shut it down now, guys.
Great.
All right.
All right, thanks for joining us on episode 12.
The quickest episode in the history of comic relief. No, anyway, on the heels of that nerd news, we're gonna move right on into the friggin' Fancast.
Friggin' Fancast.
So how we're gonna do this? We're gonna start off with Shonzza.
Big mistake.
Shonzza can lay down his characters and actors who will portray them. Then we'll move on to Mike. Then we'll move on to Jagger. Then me. And then afterwards we'll discuss kind of the idea behind our choices. So Shonzza, take it away.
Okay, two things. In seriousness, bad choice for me, but also great choice. I do have, let me pull my list up right here. I got my copious notes. Now, the thing is, let me just say that natural DC fanboy, but my goodness, are those Marvel movies fantastic? Are they fantastical?
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
So, going in, I've seen all, now overall, as much as I'm a DC fanboy, I'm really just a Batman fanboy, but I love superheroes in general. I will say, I have this general thought. I walked out of Endgame being like, wow, that was amazing. All 23 movies, was it? Of just stuff, amazing. I don't know if they can keep this up. I don't know what they're gonna do. I feel the same way for the Mutants. I don't know. I don't believe they can pull it off, but they haven't proved me wrong. So I'm gonna just let them do it. Which I'm glad you said the whole thing at the end because I want to bring up the concept. I have a few actors. I have 4 characters, young and old.
Okay.
I don't know which one should be. I'm not talking 17-year-old. I'm talking, in the prime 25, 20, 23.
Like roughly our age.
Yeah, or they can be old and the chisel people they should be, right? So let's start number 1. I think no matter what, we need to do Wolverine right. Okay. So I think if we're gonna do Wolverine, this is the hardest one for me. I really like John Bernthal, but I like him as the Punisher more, and I hope they bring him back. I don't think he fits.
They've already said that they're going to be bringing in the Netflix version of those characters into the MCU. They are canon, and they're going to keep John Bernthal as Punisher.
He's just get rid of Iron Fist and keep everybody else. Great.
Exactly.
I do think, I will say, even though I don't think he can do a good snarl like Wolverine, like a good attitude, but Kit Harington, Jon Snow. I think that's my Wolverine choice.
That might not be good though, because he's gonna be he's the Black Knight in Eternals.
He's in the Eternals. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, all I have here is Daniel Radcliffe and Jack Black. That's literally what I have. That's not a joke.
Ooh. Hold up. Okay, so hold on.
Jack Black as
can we
Wolverine.
agree? Can we agree that we all have Wolverine on our roster?
Yes.
Yeah. You wanna do that? We can go that way.
So
yeah.
I'm gonna say Daniel Radcliffe is also one of my choices.
Really?
Oh my god.
Yes, because he's hairy, he's short, and he's got a good fucking American accent. And I've actually seen some of his other work where like he has the acting chops to pull it off.
He can. No,
a lot of us just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. He could probably pull like a Robert Pattinson Batman and shock us all. And be like, oh wait, no, this dude is actually
true. Good point. Good point.
Decent. Well, I mean, I don't want to jump around too much because I know. Let me go through because I don't have my full cast like that. I was hoping we'll bounce around because I was still struggling to get all these people. I started doing dumb things. Number 1, when I looked up different mutants, it took me straight to Doctor Who because I guess there was a mutant arcs. So I was like, if we're gonna do that, we're gonna recast the Doctor as a dog. We've had a guy, we had one. Let's go a dog. Do a dog Doctor. I'm cool with that.
Oh my god.
The Doctor.
You went down the fucking rabbit hole, didn't you?
I have anything. Okay, so let's go. Serious characters. I have Cyclops. I think young or old should be Dylan O'Brien from the Maze Runner and Teen Wolf. I kind of like. I usually you get a nice chiseled Scott, which to be honest, from the comics, and I'll be honest, I'm not a big X-Men fan. I love the concept, but even reading through stories has kind of been like, cool. But
Yeah.
Scott is a G in the comics, and I hate how cowardly they made him in movies so far, and
Yeah.
how annoying he is. But I feel like Dylan O'Brien could get a good chance of being that kind of like, I'm a coward at first, but I step up and be a leader. I feel like he can.
I mean, if you've watched like the entirety of like Teen Wolf, which is what I primarily know him from, like that's basically how he starts out. He starts out as like kind of like the cowardly, like kind of nerdy, just silly best friend, and then later on he shows off his acting prowess, especially when there's that point where he gets like taken over by was it like the evil Kitsune or whatever or something like that. I can't remember. It was like all a blur at that point. But he gets taken over by this evil spirit, and he's just a fucking badass.
Really? Well, I mean, sorry, Xander. First of all, this is Team Edward around here, so we don't watch no Teen Wolf. Just so you know.
Whatever.
Let me jump through. I genuinely was struggling with like Storm. I don't know who to cast as Storm. That one's a hard one. Nightcrawler. I have him on my team. These people I just like now. I don't know how they work in a movie, but I just like them. Finn Wolfhard. From
I could actually see that.
Oh, okay.
Stranger Things. Or Pretty Boy Timothy Charizard. I forgot how to say his last name, so I just wrote Charizard here. Chalamet. There we go. I didn't know how his last name was. Let's see who else I have.
I think I have Timothy Chalamet as one of my choices too. Well, okay, I have him on here, but for a completely different character.
Okay. I have Jean Grey. I don't know who to cast as that. I'm stuck between a big guy. I think Beast is a little more important. And I'm gonna save my Professor X and Magneto because their castings all over the place there. But the concept, I want to talk about the concept with you guys at the end. But what I am doing, I am bringing in the mutant box, everybody's favorite character that we all know here, and everyone has heard of
on Twitter.
the mutant box, who has the ability to shape plastic and metals into boxes. I guess, I don't know. Casted by, as well as Jack Black, but he's going to be a major point in my movies. I will bring that up later too, just so we're all clear.
So you're telling me you put the Box Ghost on your X-Men team?
Yes. I don't know if it's the Box Ghost. His name is Box. Madison Jeffries.
The Box Ghost.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically him.
Beware.
Yeah. He's gonna be as important. I want him to be as important as Wanda is now, basically. At first he's like kind of side character, you little cutie, like, we love it. But then eventually it all comes down to him. Box Vision. That's what's gonna come down to in the end. All right. Now I'm gonna stop there because I feel like I've gone on too long. I don't want to take up too much time, so I'm gonna stop there.
I love it.
I told Xander this was a mistake. He was like, no, bring it up. I was like, all right, you got it.
I love it. All right, Mike, let's hear your list.
All right, so as far as like actors go, I don't have like a big list of like actors that I would like to portray the characters on my list, just because like I suck at names. I always I remember faces like way better than names. But as you guys were just, as Shonzza was like naming his first name list, I was like, damn, those are all people I would have picked. But I'm sure like more will come to mind. But as far as like the actual characters go, Moose.
There's Moose.
Yeah, the first no.
They want to roll. That's why.
The first
cast me.
would be Gambit. Like I really want to see him do him justice. Like hold on. Can you
Do we go the Channing Tatum route?
Ooh,
Oh no.
God.
honestly though, hey, dress him up like how you would see Gambit. If he lost a little bit of like, because he's all big and muscular, like if he was like a more slimmer version of himself, like a little less Magic Mike, maybe like more fighter era Tatum. But anyways, so like Gambit, I just feel like when he came, I can't remember which X-Men movie that, I think it was like the first Wolverine movie in the past when him and Logan, or him and his brother were fighting, is when Gambit kind of randomly like popped up a little bit there. It's like I just didn't get enough of Gambit. I'd love to see, like, with everything that they can do with movies nowadays, I feel like they could really make his character pop. So I feel like that would be super cool. And then like I'm a 90s kid, so I grew up watching, X-Men on WB on Saturdays and stuff. So I'm a big I like that era of X-Men. Now they've already done movies with a lot of those characters, but I'd like to see those characters kind of like more in their prime. So I'm talking like Nightcrawler, Kitty, who else is on the list? It's just most of like the younger X-Men. I'd like to see like a recast of a Juggernaut as a villain. I hated him in that first movie when
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh my
I
god.
wasn't like it was funny to me, but like now when I watch it, it's like so corny. Like come on. And just like I said, like a lot of my characters that have already had screen time, I feel like they with what they can do nowadays in these movies, I feel like all of those characters can get put like so much more justice to their character and acting as far as like just I don't know what I'm trying to say, just like about like wowing the audience with what you with editing on a camera.
Yeah, especially on that Juggernaut note, because like in the comic books, Juggernaut is actually a much more important character. To the point where he's Professor X's like what, half brother?
Half brother or full brother. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to double check that, but I know they're related. And there's a lot that goes behind Juggernaut's character arc, which you know obviously like I agree with. In the movies, they did not do him justice at all.
I will say, I said this after the last Wolverine film. I love Wolverine so much. He's like my favorite character, and it's been so long that I am just 100% used to Hugh Jackman being the Wolverine. I feel like they just need to leave him alone. He's gone. He's just a faded memory. Bring Laura up. The actress. I can't remember her name. I don't know what she looks like now, or if she still fits the role as like a teenager form of that. Like it would be cool to have her back, especially showing off her age. But
I can see that.
I hope that they don't try to revive Wolverine with someone else. Now, I mean, like, there is a lot of people that could definitely play him, I feel like, but for me, personally, I'm just so used to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and I was really hurt. And, I mean, it was time for him to go. It was definitely time, but, like, me and Xander were talking earlier. I told him I was crying, like, a lot. I cried in that movie, and I'll cry every single time. It hurts.
Well, I mean, he went out on such a good movie. Like the old man Logan storyline is so iconic, and to be able to have done that as his last Wolverine film, it's such like a bittersweet goodbye.
Yeah, I kind of got similar vibes with that. At the end of Endgame with Iron Man. It was definitely because I mean he hasn't been around as long as Hugh Jackman, but he's definally been around forever. Like when you went and saw the first Iron Man, you didn't know that in 10 years, you were going to see all this. So it's somewhat of the same concept. I don't know. I'm a hater. I hate when people leave forever. I want them to stick around forever.
That's kind of how I feel about like with like how Marvel is going right now. But you have to be realistic. Actors age, contracts go up, and they don't want to continue doing the movies anymore. So I mean, this is probably more of a topic for another episode. But I have proposed the theory that at some point there's going to be some cataclysmic universal shakeup in the movies to the point where it almost retcons itself in a sense, and they have the opportunity to recast characters like Iron Man and stuff like that and start fresh and start new, kind of like how the comics do. But
yeah, most definitely. I mean, my weird nerd theory is that, again, I don't think they're gonna fail in these next phases, but because you think like, when will this end? And I feel like what the easy out for Marvel would be, all this multiverse when we get introduced to the mutants and all this stuff, is then you just end on some final Avengers battle, and ending with the fact that like there's thousands of universes and stuff like that. There's so many adventures to be, and then you kind of end, and then from there you can just make solo movies and different stuff. Because like, oh, this takes place over here and this place over there. So I feel that it is hard, but that's when the whole recasting comes along of like, this character isn't working out. Let's go. This one from this universe comes over, and now they're in charge. Something like that. Yeah,
it's like releasing their rights out into the wild for other people to do.
Exactly. Just more excuses to get Hugh on board again. That's the way I see it. He loves being ripped, from what I hear. He loves he just loves being ripped, so he'll do it. Yeah.
All right, Jagger, let's hear your roster. We're gonna go roster first. I know you have like this whole plan.
Yep.
The Grandmaster plan.
So I have a sub concept for my team and why I picked it. Very short. I want them to do the rosters based off of the X-Men from 1991, the blue and gold teams. And I'll explain when we get to the concept. So I have a casting for my gold team and a casting for my blue team. So on my gold team, I have Archangel, played by Joe Keery, Steve from Stranger Things.
Okay.
I think he could definitely bring that boyish feel to Archangel. Next I have Colossus, played by Alexander Ludwig. He played Bjorn in Vikings.
Okay.
Next I have Iceman, played by Sam Claflin, who played Finnick Odair from the Hunger Games.
Yep, I remember him.
I feel like he could bring that just enough asshole to Iceman.
Yeah, he was actually my original fan cast for Iron Fist back when Iron Fist was first announced.
Yeah, he was my choice for Iron Fist as well. Next on my list, I have Jean Grey. I cast Rebecca Ferguson. She played Rose the Hat in Doctor Sleep.
Okay.
She would be phenomenal. Accent and all. Let her keep the Scottish accent and everything. I'd love it.
Scottish Jean Grey. I like it.
Yeah, it's hot. I have my casting for Storm as Naomi Harris. She was Eve in Skyfall. James Bond film. Yep. And then to round out Gold Team, I have Bishop, played by Laz Alonso, aka Mother's Milk from The Boys.
Yeah, he appears on my list too.
I like that one. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I think he could play that role so well. All right, and then going into my blue team, I have Wolverine, played by another Boys star, Karl Urban.
That's who I was thinking of. You're on the right track. You got it, Karl Urban. That is perfect.
If Karl Urban can't do it, I would want to see somebody similar to the body style of Hugh Jackman and cast Joe Manganiello.
Really?
He has that. Yeah, he has that like animalistic type acting, like you saw in True Blood. I know he plays a mean Deathstroke, and I will forever see him as Deathstroke, even if he never plays the character again. But I feel like he could play a nasty Wolverine.
I think so too. I just the same thing. I think I'm all for the short Wolverines because we have another 6'5" Wolverine, which is gonna be hilarious. But
yeah.
Keep him low, make him squat when he starts fighting. That's
Next for blue team, I have Psylocke. I cast Summer Glau, but honestly, I wouldn't mind keeping Olivia Munn as Psylocke. I think she fulfilled the role really well. She just wasn't fleshed out enough in Apocalypse.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
So I think she fits the role extremely well, and I think the fact that she trained to do her own stunts was phenomenal. I think they just wrote her wrong in Apocalypse.
And she's with G4 from our childhood, so yeah, she
exactly.
She deserves the praise.
Man, old school nerd days right there.
Yeah. Attack of the Show.
Oh my god, I missed that shit.
Next up, I've got Gambit. I cast Alexander Draymond from The Last Kingdom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He has that very devil may care kind of attitude, which I love, and he has the look down pat. Rogue, I actually struggled with very well, really, like a lot. I ended up settling on Haley Steinfeld for Rogue.
Even though she's gonna be Hawkeye?
Even though she's gonna be Hawkeye.
Double it up.
Okay. I actually have I mean, technically, Karl Urban is a recast because he was in Thor.
Yeah, but he died.
Don't count.
Right, he died. So I mean, they can recast him. But I mean, my Rogue casting is open to interpretation.
Okay.
that's just who I ended up going with. I couldn't really think of anybody else that I really wanted, but Steinfeld kind of stood out to me in that role.
Yeah,
For Cyclops, I ended up going opposite of you, and I went with the chiseled Cyclops, and I chose Charlie Hunnam.
Oh,
specifically with his like Pacific Rim type look.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm gonna go with the hardened Cyclops with Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy and Pacific Rim.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And then I have Beast. I picked a little like wild card pick that he's not really famous. Joel Edgerton from The Great Gatsby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I picked him to play Beast. It's gonna be hard to top the other two because they played them so well.
Yeah.
They were able to play Hank McCoy and Beast extremely well. But I think Joel could edge it out for sure. And then to round off my blue team, I have Jubilee, played by Chelsea Zhang, who played Rose Wilson in Titans.
Okay.
So I have a villain cast and I have a Charles Xavier and Magneto casting, but I'm gonna save those for later.
Okay. I'll just run through mine then.
Okay.
So I'll start off with Professor X. So this one I have three. I have a top three choices. So I have Jason Isaacs from Harry Potter. He played Malfoy's father. I have Mark Strong.
Funny.
Or Giancarlo Esposito.
I was just about to say that's what I save it. Yep, that's how you do it. That's what you do.
Yep.
Because I've seen him as the villain so many goddamn times. I want to see him as Professor X, like this smart, somewhat kind of like. I want there to be kind of like this air of mystery behind Professor X, which I feel like Giancarlo could pull off spectacularly.
Absolutely.
For Cyclops, I actually have Michael Cassidy. He was seen in Army of the Dead in the very beginning. But I also remember him more so from Zoom, that Tim Allen superhero movie with Kate Mara way back when. And he, even though he had like long hair and he kind of was like the surfer dude kind of thing, he still gave off kind of like that like Cyclops type like leadership kind of vibe, more so now in some of the stuff that he's been after the fact. Gambit, I have. This is assuming that they're not going to bring back Jigsaw from the Punisher series, but I have Ben Barnes. I think I think he has the look for Gambit. I think he could pull it off perfectly. Jean Grey, I have either Emma Kenny from Shameless or Aya Cash from The Boys. She's also in You're the Worst on FX, which is actually where I saw her first.
See, I think I'd go Aya Cash over Emma, honestly.
Well, see, I was thinking for Emma Kenny, I was thinking of someone that was like. So Jean Grey is supposed to be like this all-powerful character, but I wanted looks-wise, and this isn't, no offense to Emma Kenny whatsoever, but she's relatively average-looking for the most part, if we're speaking bluntly. And so I kind of wanted that dynamic to where, like, you wouldn't even, look twice at someone average, but then all of a sudden, boom, she's like the most powerful person. I thought that would be a kind of cool dynamic to explore.
That'd be interesting, yeah.
So she's a normal person.
So for Kitty Pryde, I actually have three as well that I couldn't really decide on. But now that I'm saying it out loud, I think the last one might be my number one choice. But I have Jessie May Lee from Shadow and Bone, and then Molly Ephraim or Caitlin Dever from Last Man Standing. I'm kind of leaning more towards Caitlin Dever a little bit more because she kind of fits the comic accurate look.
Yeah.
And I think from her character that I've seen in Last Man Standing, I would say that she could kind of fill the shoes of Kitty Pryde, being kind of sassy, kind of like a sarcastic asshole at times, but also at the same time, like, like, I don't know. I think it just fits.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as long as we get Danny DeVito to voice the dragon.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see, we have Beast.
Gilbert Gottfried, there we go.
Oh, there we go. The return of the Godfrey.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it again.
Let's see, Beast, I have Omari Hardwick or Laz Alonso. Because I feel like obviously they're big powerhouse actors. They're big, they're tough, but also at the same time, both actors have played some sort of intelligent character, like Omari Hardwick in Army of the Dead. There was that moment in the movie, I don't know if you guys seen it, but he starts talking about how like, oh, we're caught in this time loop, blah 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 blah, and he gets like really in depth about it. I'm just like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And then Laz Alonso, there's a lot of scenes where he's just kind of like for the longest time you think of him as just the muscle, and then he just like surprises you out of nowhere. Another one, I got another for Nightcrawler. I have another 2 characters from The Boys and Army of the Dead, respectively. I have Tomera Capone, or Matthias. I'm gonna butcher this. Schweighofer.
Okay,
nailed it.
So Matthias was the locksmith in Army of the Dead, and Tomera Capone was Frenchie. Both, I feel like those are kind of self-explanatory, really. Their characters that they've portrayed prior to kind of fit that of what I expect Nightcrawler to be. Next up, I have Wolverine. Wolverine, I have Daniel Radcliffe or Karl Urban.
Okay.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I would rather see Karl Urban.
I would love to see a Karl Urban Wolverine, honestly. And the more I think about it, like
I think the more I think about it, the more I think that it probably fits even better than Hugh Jackman.
Hold on.
No, to be honest though, because of that Disney tone, if they got Karl Urban, people, and I wouldn't say they're wrong or I wouldn't say they're right either, but people would be like, oh, this is much better than Hugh Jackman, just because of the way Disney has their tone and how they cast, it fits that character so well. And so it would be fair.
Guys, you're gonna make Mike cry.
But my biggest thing with Karl Urban though is like, you watch any of the scenes of him in The Boys, right?
Yeah.
Give him a Canadian accent, and then replace cunt with bub.
Yeah.
It's just, exactly.
I wouldn't be able to replace. Like, I would love. I think in the end, I personally would love Hugh Jackson. I keep saying Jackson. Hugh Jackman, Wolverine more. But that comic accuracy that Karl Urban can bring would be like, that would be insane. It would be insane.
And I was talking with our buddy Coop about it earlier today, actually, and he was like, I don't know if Karl Urban has the action chops to do it, because he hasn't really done any outward action scenes. He has a little bit of brutality in The Boys, and he has some experience in like Lord of the Rings. But I think this could be, he really has the potential to do so. Like if he trained a little bit more or whatnot, I think this would be a great time for him to shine as like an action hero almost.
Yeah, get those, we know it's called 3 letters, CGI. Get them Disney dollars, baby. Disney dollars. We just put his head, face, little.
Well, I mean,
face,
have you guys seen him in Red? He had quite a few fight scenes in Red.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, true. You're right. I forgot he was in that.
Good call.
He fought against Bruce Willis, and there were actually some pretty extensive fight scenes too.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis as Professor X. Duh.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought about it. I thought about it for a hot second.
You know who I'd actually cast Bruce Willis as? Apocalypse.
Ooh.
Bruce Willis Apocalypse.
An ancient god.
As he's lifting cities with his mind. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Exactly.
And then to round out my heroes, my X-Men, I have Iceman. This one I was thinking either Avon Jogia, originally from Victorious, but also he's gone on to do a lot better things. It's just everyone remembers Victorious. And then Jack Loudon, last I saw of him was Fighting with My Family. He was the brother.
Okay,
that's a show. Oh, okay.
No, Fighting with My Family is a movie. It's a wrestling movie.
Yeah, it was a wrestling movie.
He played Zack Attack.
I thought you were like, the last time I saw him, we were at a mall and he started fighting my family. And I was like, oh, jeez.
So yeah, that's my X-Men right there. And then I have a list of villains.
I totally forgot Iceman. That's my favorite character, and I'm so mad I forgot about him.
Yeah.
I saw your reaction when I said Sam Claflin, though. I saw that.
I was like, Iceman. Even better one. And when you say because I was like, yeah, that's why I love him so much. He's just a terrible. He's
a total asshole.
I love him. He's the worst.
Do you want me to go? I could go into the villains, or do you want to, Jagger? Do you want to pick up?
I mean, do you want me to go ahead and go into my concept, or what?
I think so. Yeah, let's go. Let's hear this concept of yours.
Okay. Alrighty. So here's my idea. So I want the movie to focus on the gold team. So Archangel, Colossus, Iceman, Jean Grey, Storm, and Bishop. Sort of like the B Team X-Men. We're not getting the big ones like Wolverine and Cyclops and Beast and all them. We're getting a couple bigger names, but no one super huge. I want them to focus on the Messiah complex storyline leading into the Messiah War. So my idea is that Eternals will introduce us to the fact that the decimation event of the mutants and the Eternals and the Celestials has already happened, which is why we haven't seen the mutants so far in the MCU. Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, I think they could use that as like a pseudo story plot point for House of M. And leading off of that, it would lead to the first child being born with the official X gene, which would be the Messiah, which would lead us into the mutants. Introduce my big bad villain. I would like to see Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is trying to find the first child, but is being opposed by one of the two existing X-Men teams. And then the storyline can continue into another movie or a Disney Plus series, which would introduce the blue team, which will have the blue team introduced by the end of the film because Mr. Sinister is a lot to deal with. But they could easily continue and run an X-Men storyline adjacent to their Avengers storyline. And then when they're getting close to their penultimate movies in the MCU, do Avengers versus X-Men and close it all out. And I want to see Mr. Sinister played by Bryan Cranston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. I have Bryan Cranston on one of my villains, but not Mr. Sinister. I have Mr. Sinister listed for Richard Armitage.
Oh, okay. That'd be a good one too.
Yeah.
I really like the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say you have one thing I've thought about before. I'm still struggling to figure out like how do you get the mutants involved in this world. But yeah. I think the biggest thing, I'm not even gonna worry about that. I'll let Disney people handle that. That's their problem, not mine. But I think the biggest thing that you touched on that I think they should do is yes, give a movie, but give a series. Because that's my biggest problem with X-Men. Yes, you can make the movie all about Wolverine, a little bit of Jean, Cyclops is there too, I guess, just to hang out. But there are just too many good characters you can't, Justice League it's your third movie out, fourth movie out, it's just here. Like you have to, and I think a series will be good, yeah.
So yeah, I think they should focus the first movie on the Gold Team and then transfer the Gold Team cast into the series. And that's the reason for a lot of my castings is a lot of them aren't super big budget names, so they can afford to hire them on for a multi-series show. And
right, because they're small indie company, don't have a lot of money, they can't do it right, yeah.
Exactly. So then they introduce the blue team at the end with like the final fight with Mr. Sinister. Like blue team shows up, they mesh the two teams together. Gold team goes off and does their thing with their side plot line, and blue team becomes the star eventually in their movie series. So it's a way to introduce more X-Men while still keeping them separate but together. And you don't have to worry about crossing mutant storylines with Avenger storylines. You kind of just acknowledge that both are existing. And then they'll eventually collide when they're all fleshed out and trimmed down.
Okay.
So I think I've wanted an Avengers versus X-Men movie or a series for so long.
Yeah.
Like I think now is the perfect time for them to start setting it up. Too. But to wrap off my thing, I don't think they should have Professor X and Magneto in the movie. If they do, I want them to do one of two things. I want them to either keep their original origin story. Like I want Magneto's origin story to date back to the Holocaust, and I want to have like a really old Magneto, which is why I cast Charles Dance, aka Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones, as Magneto.
Okay.
And then I cast Ralph Fiennes, who played Voldemort, as Professor X, which is why I laughed at your casting a little bit.
Damn.
Xander,
we meet again.
Right. Hang on, let me see. I said something earlier to Coop. I have to relook it back up because I didn't write it down in my notes like an idiot. The other way I could see them doing it is if they want to include Professor X and Magneto, I think they need to change up the characters almost entirely to make them more modern.
Yeah.
So instead of dating Magneto back to the Holocaust, I think they should make both Magneto and Professor X people of color
Yes,
and
you got
shift up their timeline and take it to the 80s with the civil rights era. Make them civil rights activists, and make Magneto's storyline as he was an activist and his family or whatever was taken by the Klan, and as he was about to be lynched or beaten or whatever was gonna happen to him is when his powers awoke and he basically slaughtered an entire group of Klansmen.
You get me. I was just about to go there. You get me.
Mhm.
You just get it. You get it. That's great. Which is why I have to. My thing was I had Giancarlo. First he was gonna be Magneto because he can play any villain. But
yeah, I had him as Magneto as well.
I did switch it. Instead, I went to make him Professor X just to make it different and just to be a little weird because the charisma. I don't know how well he could pull it off, but Jeffrey Wright as Magneto instead.
Ooh.
Jeffrey Wright from Westworld and he has this
He was
really
in
good
Hunger Games, right?
Hunger Games, yeah. He has this really good charisma. He's a little bit too smooth for Magneto. He needs a little bit more passion, just in some moments. But his acting chops are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
Wait, isn't he? And he's also going to be the voice of the Watcher in the What If series, right?
Yes.
Oh, probably. Yeah, I think so. Oh, see, there we go. Yeah, just have him do that too. But yeah, sorry.
I had a hard time finding another great actor to play Charles Xavier opposite Giancarlo as Magneto. But really,
just go Denzel. That's it.
I mean, Denzel would be good. Coop actually brought up a very decent point. If we're going like middle-aged and we're going based on acting chops alone, if he lost a little bit of weight and toned down some, Forrest Whitaker could play a pretty interesting Charles Xavier, I think.
Okay.
And I thought about that for most of the day. I pretty much told him, no, I don't think it would fit too well, but I'm thinking about his acting chops, and I'm like, okay, the more I think about it, it kind of fits, and it would play off of Giancarlo Esposito extremely well.
But what about the powder of the Black Panther being stripped away? Because that's what he was.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was in it.
But you could recast. It's fine.
Yeah, because they're doing that with Gemma Chan.
Yeah, for the Eternals.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, that's my whole big thing is I have how they can tie it into the MCU, how they can continue it, and the way they can kind of just swap in characters here and there. Like they don't have to use all the characters that I have picked, but if you're going with like comic accurate teams, you have your teams of like 6 people or 7 in some cases. Because I mean, Wolverine drops in and out so much. I mean, you could essentially just have a Wolverine Disney Plus series, if you wanted.
Yeah, and then he just pops in for the movies.
Exactly.
On the topic of Wolverine too, what do you guys think about? I always hear about it. Taron Egerton. What about? Does someone say?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I would prefer him as Cyclops.
You said Cyclops. That's right. I remember when it was first being around, and he was getting popular off of like
Rocket Man.
Kingsman. I was gonna say gentleman, but that's not right. Rocket Kings, whatever. Yeah, people kept saying, "Oh, he would be a great Wolverine," and I was like, I see it, but
I don't like it. I don't think he has the grizzle to do it. I mean, he's got the look. He could pull the costume off well. He has the size for sure because he's short as hell. But I don't think he has that
short
like
king.
Yeah, I don't think he has that like grit that Wolverine needs. Honestly.
I see him more as either Cyclops or Angel.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't bring it up because he said Cyclops, and that makes more sense. Him as a Cyclops would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Or even Iceman, actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I like for Iceman, I like the whole Tool look with the slick back hair. I like the dude from the Arrow series that was Red Arrow. I can't remember his name.
Oh, he was in Teen Wolf as well.
Yes, the bully from Teen Wolf. Yeah.
Why can't I remember his name?
And then he turned into Lizard Man. That was a weird story arc right there.
That is a man right there.
He turned into a lizard man, and then he got I guess he redeemed himself, and then turned into a werewolf.
Colton Haynes, still hot.
Colton Haynes,
Lizard men or not, still hot.
I'm watching the show right now, and I mean, like, I am so like dove into it. Like, I mean, it's like the acting is like subpar, but I love the story. Like, it gets boring at times because it's like the same. Like, okay, we're fighting this and that all over.
Yeah.
I really love the series. I'm so like invested in it. I was watching it before we were on this. I'm just I haven't because I just recently watched all of the Flash.
Ago, and like
I was impressed, and I was so happy because there was like 7 seasons. I think it's still running now, but I don't think it has much more time.
They have one more season to go.
Okay. Yeah, and I was like, I wish there was something else similar, and I was like, wait, the Arrow did some crossover series in here. I was like, let me check that out, and I was like, wow, 8 seasons. I was like, this better be good, and I started watching it. I was like, okay, here we go. I like it.
Sorry if I spoiled that for you, man. I didn't know that. My bad. Okay, all right.
I'm in season 3, so
Okay,
get well into that character's depth there. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, that show's great because that show is like dark, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty good dark. If these gonna be this dark, this is great. And then I saw Flash, I was like, this is campy. But then I was like, this is great. And Arrow's a little bit too into itself, but it's a great show. Yeah,
they're both. I mean, I wish I watched the Arrow before I watched Flash because I mean, obviously the Arrow came out before Flash, I believe, and I think
started like a season ahead.
Yeah, I think I learned a little too much about the Arrow.
It's still entertaining.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh, I already knew that, but
yeah.
But I definitely take him though. Colton Hayes is great for Iceman. That would be my pick.
Yeah, no, I think that would probably be even better because in fact they could even play on the because I think a few years back they had confirmed that Iceman is actually homosexual. And
Exactly.
Colton Hayes is homosexual in real life, so they could easily play that off.
And that's my thing. I want Iceman and whoever they have as the Human Torch to just have that kind of unspoken kind of thing going on. That's what I want. I want that in the movie.
Not the Human Torch. Who's Iceman's boyfriend in the comics? Does he?
It's not me, unfortunately. So it's kind of.
Who is Iceman's boyfriend?
Christian Foss.
North Star.
Ironic.
Right? He has a couple different romances.
Yeah, it's Iceman. Come on now, it's big play dog.
Yeah.
We know, man.
Christian Frost from the Hellfire Trading Company.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Currently, at least.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf for Iceman.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
You mean actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf? Oh no!
Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Ugh. Jesus Christ.
Make him Wolverine.
Let's see, Mike. Do you have any villains in mind?
Not really, just because I'm not as familiar with a lot of like the X-Men series. I will say I don't really care to see any of like the old ones resurface. I mean, I'm down to have Magneto as. I mean, it's weird because like he played a villain and then he played like, on the same side, like on the good guys team a little bit. It was always such a back and forth thing. I feel like if they could establish him as like an ultimate villain and they have a young actor to portray his character, I feel like we could get like a really dominant plot with like an actual movie. Like, who was the actor that played him in these past series?
Michael Fassbender.
Okay, so like I like him. I just don't think he was like sinister enough for the character. Like, because just from like the cartoons, when I used to watch the cartoons, like Magneto was such a powerful character. I just feel like it needs to be somebody more sinister, serious looking, kind of like when you look at him, it's just like, yeah, I know that guy's about to like fuck shit up.
And I really like him because one thing about him is as he bends metal, notice he does not say metal in movies a lot, because in the first one, First Class, he says it like twice, and his like Scottish accent comes out so, I think he's like either Scottish or Irish. It comes out so, metal. He said metal.
I can bend metal.
It comes out so hard, and I've noticed that from the first movie. After that, they do not have him say metal at all anymore, because
he's like, hey Mike, come here. You're not gonna say that anymore, okay?
Don't say that. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. But something that I would love to see, and at first, when this first started happening, and when I heard about it, I didn't like it because I knew it was like like a a plan just to get more money, but I hated the fact that they were about to run these series on Disney Plus. I did not like Disney Plus because I was like, wow, another streaming platform I have to pay for to be able to be involved in this new storyline. Like it just, Endgame happens and then they're like, oh yeah, Disney Plus, we're coming out with X amount of series, and if you want to stay up to date on the story, you got to get Disney Plus and you got to keep up and you got to watch. And it was like, damn, I hate this. But when, and I won't lie, when WandaVision came out, I was not on the hype train. I watched everybody tweet about it, and I think I watched the first episode, like a couple of ripped like YouTube little, I don't know, couple minute long videos just like showing the plot, and I was like, what is this black and white going on? I don't know what this is. And then my brother was like, yo, you need to like skip the first 2 episodes, they're meaningless. Skip the first. I know, I ended up watching them, but
they're pretty good. Yeah,
to get into it, like to get past some boring stuff, I started from episode 3, I think.
Yeah, and that's when things really started to kick off.
Yeah, I ended up rewatching, and then I kind of threw my hate out the window, and I would love to see, so whatever the plot ends up being for the mutants, I hope that it's such a strong enough plot, because there are so many X-Men, and I feel like a lot of them deserve their light. Some more than others, obviously. Some of the bigger characters deserve more spotlight, but I still feel like each character has their own little bit of like wow with them, and they can create in the series. I feel like each like sub character could have their own episode in the actual multi-series. So like, let's just say you're like a big fan of Kitty. I don't know why I keep saying her, but
she's the GOAT. That's why,
Like, that's great. Real here, her power up against Cyclops, like who wins? Come on now, like who's more powerful to that? But Kitty, her like being able to walk through walls and things like that is super dope. I feel like there could be like just one cool episode where it's all her in it, but it ties into the actual story. You feel what I'm saying? Like each episode in that little multi-series could just kind of base it around one mutant, one sub-mutant that's not as important, but it all like goes toward the same thing, instead of wrapping it around an entire team with an objective. I feel like without knowing that it's a team, they become a team in the end.
It's kind of like a lot of the main one that comes to mind is like Criminal Minds. Like when you watch Criminal Minds, each episode has a completely new case, but there's also this underlining main plot that continually grows as each episode comes to fruition, and then usually by like the halfway point and then the finale are big moments with that main story arc. And usually it's like the last 2 episodes of that season. It's like that's like the big culmination. So I could see that being a thing where like each episode you kind of follow one member of the X-Men, or just one member from the Xavier School for Gifted Children. Kind of just follow their story and how their story kind of fits into the main plot. You get a little bit of the main plot here and there, but then you're just following each character until finally, you have like the last, 2 or 3 episodes of the season where everything kind of just collides. So that would be actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I felt like in the early Marvel series, like in Phase 1, when nobody knew of anything about the Avengers, like no one knew that was a thing, they subtly did that. You know what I mean? Like left room for it to be an option. Now, I mean, I haven't read anything where it says where they're like, yeah, from day one, the first Iron Man movie, we had plans for this. Like, I don't know if that was said or true, but I felt like each movie, they left a little bit of room in there to where it's like, if we want to do this, we can definitely do this, because we left the Easter eggs in there.
Yeah.
I feel like if they did that now, it would keep viewers like people like me. I'm big into story plots that don't show like right away, or it's almost it's not gonna happen. You're hoping it's gonna happen, and they better do it. They better not tease us and like not do it, you know. But it's one of those. I would love to see that.
The easiest example of that would be so you said Iron Man 1, like you had the terrorists that captured Tony Stark. That was the 10 Rings, and guess what we're getting later this year? Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Rings. Like it's finally like 10, 12, 11, 15 fucking years later. I don't know. Time is irrelevant after 2020. I don't fucking care about time anymore.
Yeah.
I think I was like 19 when I saw that movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man. Like I definitely that series is going to be difficult because like talking about it was the biggest thing that hit me. Like when I saw WandaVision, and when hearing about this, I'm like, we're getting shows. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. We're gonna get all this stuff, all this shows, all this content. And after watching WandaVision, like sometimes I like to watch this with my parents. And when they're watching it, it's that thing. Of course, they're older, so you have to be like, well, no, this means this, and you remember him from there, and this all. And then you realize, like, yeah, you really do have 20 plus movies and now TV show like that you have to watch. To Disney credit though, I think WandaVision is a bad example because now when all white Vision shows up, people that didn't watch it that are just watching the movies are like, what happened to this color? But then I think Winter Soldier and Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a good example because the way that kind of leaves off, other than Agent, the way that leaves off, once that comes back, you're kind of like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, he got the shield at the end, so yeah, I get that. Endgame, I get that. That one works out. I'm waiting to see how Loki works. Yeah. I think Loki's a good idea because that's gonna go into the whole multiverse theory. So that seems like okay. So from those shows, WandaVision is one where I'm like, you're gonna lose some people that aren't interested in watching, for good reason. Like you have Mike that aren't gonna be interested in watching, but some so far, I think Disney's doing a really good job of taking in the possibility of like, what if they don't watch? So I think that ties in with the whole X-Men thing of listening to how it would go. Treat it that same kind of X-Men evolution thing. Like who would have thought we would have cared about Spike? That's like my favorite X-Men. Like,
right. Oh my god.
Right? Yeah, and we like Quicksilver was always important, but I still stand by the fact that X-Men Evolution boosted him up with his like annoying character. Quake. Why do we care about Quake, but we do Toad? Toad was always like, yeah, it's Toad, but Toad became popular and beloved. So I feel like if they handle it in a very X-Men Evolution style, which now that I think about it, looking at the new Mutants movie, I never saw it. Because it was who had it, Fox?
I still haven't watched it.
I'm never gonna watch it. Yeah.
It's a waste. It's a waste of time. It barely feels like an X-Men movie. It's a mess.
But is that Fox that did that?
Yeah, Fox did that.
Yeah. See, I didn't trust it, but seeing the concept seems amazing. Yes. Like, what if we take these series and talk about these quote unquote freaks that we have this criminal mind where like each of them are going through like Stranger Things season, was that last season 3 or no 2? Three. I think it did a really good job of doing the thing where yes, everybody is separate and everybody is finding their answer to the problem, and then they naturally come together instead of them meeting up and just saying the answer because they don't, but like no, they're naturally finding their piece of the puzzle. And then they meet up to take care of the situation. Like off the top of my head, I would love to see a foreshadow thing. I would love to see these mutants that maybe haven't been found. Like take some of your characters, Jagger, and they're finding out about the school. They're doing their own things, and they stumble upon I don't know who's in charge of, not Stryker, but whoever's in charge of putting together Sentinels. Like they find the first
Boulevard Trask.
Sentinel. Yes, they find these group of mutants are doing their own things, freaking out. They somehow stumble across each other and stumble across like the first Project Sentinel. It's not 30 feet tall. It's maybe like 15 feet tall, something like that. And they take it down, and then that gets them introduced to the X-Men. And you get the thing that I hate the most, where they wait till the final episode or the end of the series to show the characters in costume. I freaking hate when people do that.
I
hate it so
fucking
much.
hate that.
I get it for the hype, but again, it's really annoying.
Well, it's like the end of the last X-Men movie. That's when they got their the comic book accurate X-Men suits. I'm like, oh my god.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think you do stuff like that where you and again, if you do it well, you can have characters that are important that you don't have to. They can be the roads, like the War Machines, where like next time they show up in a movie, do they have a main speaking role? No, but they're there, and you're like, okay, I kind of know who they are. And if you don't, that's fine. You're like, okay, they'll tell you, oh, he was in the show. Oh, okay, and you go from there. But I do trust Disney on that front. As much as I don't know if it's gonna hold up because I think they have too many moving parts. I think not even on their part. I think they're okay. Their writing's gonna be okay, but I think the fans, unlike us in the room here, because clearly we're keeping track of stuff, but I think general fans are gonna be like, okay, who's this now? And then the X-Men, and that's my thing. I love the X-Men, which is why I want them introduced. And Jack, I think you have a great idea. I want them introduced, but I don't want them to fully be with the Avengers. Like, yep, we're your buddies now. Have them in their own thing to where they finally clash. Good. Have that. That's great. I think we have too many moving pieces for a normal fan that just enjoys going to the movies to be like, okay, I'll just turn my brain off and watch this, I guess, which they could because they're entertaining movies, but it's getting dangerous. Yeah,
that was my point. It's like if you try to introduce an entire team of new characters, like I mean, they had the time to build the Avengers. Like Mike was saying, they had their solo films. Like if it didn't work out, cool. The movies stand great on their own, but they had the little pieces in there that worked when they were like, okay, it's time to do the Avengers. We can now pull these characters that we've already built and established. They don't have the time to do that with the X-Men. They have to figure out within another year. They have like what, 6 films, two that could only possibly explain it. Maybe so you have the Eternals, Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, maybe Spider-Man, and probably Loki that could easily introduce mutants as a thing.
Yeah.
And explain it. I think Eternals is their best bet because it's going through almost all of time. Because the Eternals have been there since the beginning. And if they use that point to be like, oh yeah, by the way, mutants existed here in time, but they don't exist here in time because of this event.
Yeah.
Right.
And they could just kind of like sneak it in there like that. It's like, okay, so we'll probably get mutants because mutants are a thing because of the Celestials. And then with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness basically spinning everything like a top, you could basically say, okay, now that we've broken down the walls of the multiverse, mutants are now needed. The X gene has now resurfaced because of the events that happened here. Because if you kind of keep that secret origin storyline that Magneto is actually Wanda's father, she had the X gene all along. It just wasn't activated until she came in contact with the Mind Stone. So you introduce Magneto and say, oh yeah, that's her father, always has been. He just gave her up to a Sokovian couple because he had to go into hiding because of the decimation. He couldn't come out and they couldn't come out and be in the public because mutants were hated, etc., etc. And it would be especially great if they actually did it comic accurate, because I mean it all lines up with Wanda's upbringing with the war and the bombing of Sokovia and all that stuff. So Magneto being from the Holocaust and then having a child or children and then having to give them up to keep them safe, it makes perfect sense. So I mean, if they did it that way, they could, it would be super easy. And I think keeping them mostly separate, maybe having a couple characters that can cross over like Wanda and maybe Doctor Strange. You can introduce them into the X-Men franchise a little bit just to say, okay, yeah, these are connected. These do cross over here, but don't have Wolverine and Cyclops coming in to join the Avengers.
Right.
Keep the X-Men storyline running basically parallel with a few little intersection points here and there. And then eventually when you have the time and you're able to do so properly, do that clash.
Okay. So you guys mentioned a couple of villains that I want to run through my villains list real quick because I actually have a couple here that I think you guys might enjoy. So I'm just gonna run through real quick. I have a couple that are like 2, 4, but I'm gonna narrow it down to my top 1 for these ones. So right off the bat, I'm gonna go with Magneto. I have Ben Daniels from Jupiter's Legacy. He played Brainwave.
Okay.
I think he was a pretty decent actor in that.
That makeup,
like,
boy. Whew.
Makeup was terrible.
They just.
But I think he could play a
sorry,
good Magneto. Let's see, Sabretooth. This one is the only one I can't narrow down to just one. It's either Raul Castillo from Army of the Dead or Anthony Starr from The Boys.
You know who I picked for Sabretooth?
Who?
Manu Bennett.
Ooh, that would have been good too. Shit. I didn't even think of that.
I mean, come on, think about it. Crixus as Sabretooth?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
They're
so great, dude.
Let's see. I got Omega Red. I really want to see Omega Red in like on the big screen. And I actually have Dolph Lundgren on here for Omega Red.
Really?
You have to.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
I feel I couldn't. I was trying to narrow it. I wanted to get like an actual Russian actor, but I just couldn't really narrow it down. So I think Dolph Lundgren would be a good choice for that. Next I have Pyro. I actually picked Jack Quaid from The Boys.
I was good. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I think I could totally see him as just like a gnarly villain. But I want someone like Junkrat from Overwatch.
Pyro, just disheveled and gross.
Yeah, and just like fucking just like crazy off the fucking hinges.
Stop making him cool. Yeah.
So I actually have Psylocke starting out as a villain. Like starting out with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And I actually have Jessica Henwick from Iron Fist.
Okay.
I really liked her character and I really want to see more of her. It's a shame that Iron Fist was so poorly written and poorly executed.
R.I.P.
Mystique, this one was also a toss-up. If we're going a little bit older Mystique, I was gonna say Maggie Q. I think I'm just getting into shit right there. Or if we go a little younger, Isa Gonzalez. Those are my top two choices for Mystique. Toad. Toad, I had either Timothy Chalamet or Max Minghella from the recent Spiral movie.
I like Timothy as Toad more.
Yeah.
And then Bolivar Trask, I actually have as Bryan Cranston.
Okay.
I had him as Bolivar Trask because I just feel like I see him more as a suit in this concept. And then Mr. Sinister, I said earlier, I have as Richard Armitage. And my kind of concept behind this was that I really liked kind of like piggybacking off of your idea where if we were to kind of shift forward the origins of Magneto and Professor X, in a sense, I mean, obviously I'd have to redo my casting for Magneto, but if they were to do that, I would want the dynamic between Professor X and Magneto similar to what we saw in the previous X-Men films, to where Magneto isn't necessarily a villain, he's just more of an extreme version of what Professor X is. Because they both kind of want the same thing in a sense.
Which is how he starts out anyway. I mean, he starts out as just, I'm forming the Brotherhood because I want equality for mutants and the humans won't let us do that. So we're going to go by any means necessary to do so.
Yeah, the movie's just done a terrible job of making him. That's the point. Yeah, but that's what it should be. Yeah.
So I want that dynamic, and I want Bolivar Trask and Mr. Sinister to be the main villains of this kind of concept. So that was kind of like my mindset behind my choices there.
Makes sense. Yeah. Are we ready for my concept of how the movies go?
Yes.
Are we ready?
Okay. Actually, here. You guys chit chat about some stuff real quick. I've been holding this in since we started. I gotta run to the little boys' room real quick. So you guys chit chat about some stuff. Yes, please join me.
Okay.
But I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Check this out. This is how this goes. All right. We start off. I think we. Okay. First of all, this is kind of like here's where we're gonna retcon everything. This is one of those Wonder Woman 84 situations, right? Where we don't go. we go like, hey, remember when we all kind of wish for crazy things and then it all happened, but then it didn't happen? And then the other person goes, nope. And the same thing. Hey, remember when there were mutants and they were all like these people with crazy powers? And everybody goes, nope. Oh, okay. And they keep going. So mutants have always been there, right?
Yeah.
And we zoom in. We zoom in on a nice cloudy day in western Arkansas on our guy Madison Jeffries, aka our all beloved favorite character, Box, right? And he's just doing his thing. He's doing his little box mutant things, right? And everything. You okay, Jagger? You don't have like.
I'm listening. I'm taking it all in.
Making sure you're good. All right, so here we go.
Yep.
So Box is over here. He's doing his thing, right? Typical day. Where then he's like talking. He sees the girl or boy of his dreams. Still haven't decided what his love interest is gonna be. And they're like talking to their friends, crossing the street, and it's the typical like runaway bus situation, right? And he's like, "Oh no, I gotta use my box things to save their." Oh, you're good. Take your time. And so he's like, "Oh no, I gotta use my typical box powers to save them." But it doesn't work like that, so they get hit. So now it's more of those like, kind of like, "Oh, I should have been better. I wish I could have saved them more." And that's when Cyclops shows up, right? And then he comes up. He's like, "I saw how you wish you saved them. There was an idea. There was an initiative where a bunch of us kids, a bunch of us quote unquote freaks, we're going to get together and have a little club, and we need you." Now, long story short, they do the whole training montage, Green Lantern training montage and everything, Ryan Reynolds style.
We're gonna teach you to make bigger boxes.
Yeah, basically. And it comes down to they're all fighting. Typical Wolverine's there. Hey, bub, he runs at Magneto. Oh, I'm an idiot. He bends iron and metal. Why haven't I learned my lesson yet? And they're just going. And then it comes down to like, we can't beat Magneto. And he's like, fools, because I can bend metal and I'm about to bend this kid. But then Box is like, my final ability, I can bend metal too. And he bends Magneto's helmet, but he doesn't have control and squishes it a little bit too much, right? A little too much. Did I mention this movie is rated R? It's rated R.
Okay, so all I needed was that last bit right there, and reading the chat over here saying Jagger's reaction perfect. Love this idea. Give this man all the money.
I'll pull the chat right now. Yeah, see, thank you. Chat. Big Husky agrees, right? Like this is great. And then, but long story short, turns out to be Box. And then Nick Fury comes out and is like, "You're just the person we're looking for." And he goes, and then he does the typical thing where he looks at the camera and he goes, "Here we go again." And then we kick in the Wonder Woman theme song.
Wait, hold on.
There we go, right?
You did not just give Nick Fury the GTA treatment. Oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah, that's right. That's basically it, right? Because now
I need you to make a box, motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying. Like Iron Man's gone. Who's gonna step up to the plate? Doctor Strange? Yeah, right. Get that party magician out of here, bro. Like we don't.
Clearly, it's Iron Box.
We need Box. That's what I'm saying. We need Box.
Next thing you know, Box has overstayed his welcome. I'm tired of these motherfucking boxes and motherfucking.
That's what I'm saying. Who's going to package all the Avengers equipment quickly enough to move it? You saw how happy he was in Spider-Man: Homecoming when he was like, I can't talk right now. We're moving the whole Stark Tower. That would have been much faster if they had Box. I'm just saying.
I got it. Box coming to you on Amazon Prime.
Not even straight to Peacock.
That's the joke. No explanation. That's the joke, right?
Yeah, just straight. That's okay. I got you. That's a good one, Dad. So I appreciate my first and last stay on this show. I really appreciate
it. No, Shonzza, you can have my spot. You're now the new co-host of this show.
Oh man.
I'm starting to see a recurring theme to where every episode there's got to be one moment where we make Jagger regret agreeing to do this with me.
Just call me up. I'll hop on. Like I have questions from the chat.
It happens at least once an episode. You can look back on all 12 episodes. At least once, I have my hands on my forehead, down like this.
Is this worth it? Is this really worth it? Look at chat. Chat has a great question though. Question: Can Box make a box that is able to lift Mjolnir?
Is the box worthy?
No, because Box himself is already worthy, so he can just lift it up. Like that's the thing. It's going to be. He's going to be. His cover art is him holding Mjolnir and Cap's shield. That's the, like dual hand.
I'm sorry. Box
getting
is
like
not
Toxic
Beta Ray Bill.
Avengers vibes from this image right here.
Box is not Beta Ray Bill. Get out of here.
Love and Thunder Box. That's what it is. That's what it's gonna be. Yeah.
Oh
I got it. Solved it. All the problems solved. There you go. No plot holes at all.
The Avengers 2, Age of Box.
Age of
Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume Box.
Box. Avengers.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Boxes.
Yeah, Multiverse of Boxes. That's basically it, man. Spider-Man.
No, it's the multi-box of madness. Come on now.
That's it.
That's madness. Okay, I'm so sorry.
But that's it. It's just Spider-Man box. There's no like home in it. It's just Spider-Man box. That's it. Straight up.
It's gotta be home box.
Home box. Home box.
Box home. Spider-Man is now homeless, and his only savior is Box, who can build him a house out of boxes.
My goal was to come to this. I have one goal in mind. All this was fun. All this was nice. I like talking nerd stuff, but I just want anyone listening to this episode, to the millions of people listening to this episode, I want when this Mutants show movie comes out, when it's over, I want your mom or your dad or whatever person that doesn't understand superhero movies, when this comes out, I want them to look at you and be like, wait, where was Box? I want that. That's my gospel. That is my religion. That is all I want. I want your significant, your partner, your child, whatever, to look at you and be like, oh, but where was Box? Isn't he in the movie? And you're like, Box, what do you mean? Yeah, Shonzza from the he was saying that Box. I thought there was gonna be Box in here. He's so important. He didn't even get to say, here we go again. He didn't. Yeah, I want that. That's all I want.
This has been a reading. This has been a reading from the Gospel of Shonzza. Shonzza 6:14. Box is our savior.
Yeah, exactly. Box. That's it. That's praise be to Boxes.
Oh,
praise be to Box.
Praise be.
All right. Well, do we have any last comments on our fan casting here?
I don't know any comment. I don't know any comment that could top the last 5 minutes. Honestly, right. I think we've summed it up quite well.
Yeah. Right. In a serious comment, I would say that I am I just right now as a fan and as a fan writer, when I'm like, oh, the movie should go this way, but I really have no idea how this whole thing is going to go, and that makes me super excited. So I can't wait to look back on this and basically be like, dang, Jagger was right. Now these movies are low-key ruined. I know the whole plot now.
Quite honestly, if they don't go Jagger's route, I'd be surprised.
Be surprised, man.
So,
hashtag free Jagger.
Hey, Kevin Feige, I'm available. I'll quit both my jobs to come work for you.
Hashtag free Jagger.
There we go. All right. Well, Shonzza, do you got anything coming up you want to let the people know about?
Hush Hush, my band Differences, we are fully recording. I'm super stoked to really get in there and lay down some of these hot pipes. I've been listening to Mike and getting inspired, so I'm like, oh yeah, I can't replicate that, but I sure can be inspired by it, so that's what I'm excited to get in there and do some of that. And my last clout thing, follow me on social medias at Shonzza _ for most of them, and Twitch. I'm taking a quick break, but I'm coming back next week, June 14th, whenever that is. I have my game plan. I've also been inspired by Xndr. I look at this man as he streams on Twitch, and I'm like, Daddy, I want to be that when I get older. And that's what I'm gonna do, man. I'm just gonna get better. But yeah, just follow me on social media, stuff like that. And this was fun. I really enjoyed all this. This is great.
And for that, we actually have Shonzza's Twitch link and the link to Differences most recent music video, whichever was on your Twitter.
6 years ago.
I grabbed it. It's in the description box below. And Mike, you and your band just did something in the past week. Care to let us know about that?
Yeah, we put out a single with a month or a year and 3 or 4 months. Put out music, so we were pretty, ready to put something out. The song had been ready for a while. Just with COVID and everything, it was just really difficult to get things moving as far as getting a video done. We definitely we didn't want to put it out without a video.
Right.
But making people wait that long, they deserve some kind of video. And then when we shot the video, my guitarist / cousin, his baby decided to make an early appearance. So then it was like, okay, I guess we can't have the full band in it because Justin can't be there. So it was definitely a whole string of adversity to try to like get this damn song out, but we finally got it out. The fans are really happy. Our core fan base. We haven't, as of now, we don't have any like editorial playlisting, and the song has been doing, it's like the best numbers for this band currently, even better than Red was doing in the beginning, which is awesome. Red got Octane time. Red got a lot of editorials. So it's very cool to see that. Just seeing our fans like do the most, because for a long time the band didn't feel as validated as we do now. And I feel like everybody felt that way over the course of this pandemic. I mean, whatever you're into, it was just a dark time pretty much for everybody.
Yeah.
The song is out. You can stream it anywhere. Watch the music video, please. My friend Chris did an excellent job. We worked really hard on it. We are currently in the process of booking studio time for another string of songs. I know what we're doing, but I can't really say what we're doing. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. But yeah, so we're
hopefully no one from Sharp Tone's looking at us right now.
Oh, they don't care. They love spoiling surprises. They'll be like, we'll have a song coming out in a month, and they'll be like, yo, Savage Hands Up on Deck. I'm like, all right, well, guess cat's out of the bag. It's so easy to find. Like, there's a couple of guys that I follow and that, you know, we keep in contact on Twitter. There's like 3 of them, and in the metalcore community, this one guy, his name is Alan Harrington. Dude, he knows what band is putting out songs like months ahead of time. Like, he always knows. I don't know how he knows, if he knows somebody or what, but like, I mean, maybe he does because he's very friendly. But like, it's so easy to find out that information and then just exploit it on Twitter, and now everybody. But yeah, so
hire for someone from Disney to hide all your secrets.
Yeah, but yeah, it's no secret. I don't really like keeping secrets about my band, especially about like recording and stuff. So, I mean, we already have 2 other demos that they're not fully cut songs, but they're definitely demos that are gonna like stay intact to what they are. We just need to, you know, fully cut them and track and mix them on. So like those 2, I'll be happy to get back to them too in September, hopefully, and then writing some new songs with a couple of good people that my producer writes with.
Okay.
So, and I'll keep those on the DL because it'll be nice to, if they happen, it'll be really nice to announce these people that we work with potentially. It's kind of like a full circle kind of for sick, but yeah. So
well, so you say that, are you talking about potential features on this next album?
See, okay, so my take on features, I do think that the hard rock and metalcore community, like all that, I think we need to do features more, like a lot more. Like there's a lot of great bonds between, you know, me and all my friends, companions in the industry, and I see a lot of it everywhere, you know what I mean? It's not just me, and I don't see a lot of features, and some of it is, there's some guys that I've asked to feature where they're like, I don't know if I'm like a feature kind of artist, like where I've gotten the response of, now all of this could be just them politely telling me to fuck off, I don't know, but I did have a response from one person that said, I don't believe in my voice that much to want to feature on a track, like, and I was like, I mean, you know, I was like, I don't really get that, but at the same time, I respect it, you know, maybe another time, but if we do features, I want to do features bands that are like on our level. Like I don't want to do the feature in hopes that that vocalist brings their large fan base to my band. I want to do it because like I'm homeboys with this guy or girl or whatever. Like I just want to do it because it's fun and we're grinding, we're both grinding, and it's just like a fun thing. Like I had a feature that I had 2 features that I did over the course of the pandemic. Both did not make the cut because they were songs that got multiple tryouts, and I guess mine, like both songs ended up being futuristic potential like octane radio song. The producer, like I kind of just got boxed in. We wrote, and my parts were not radio friendly, so they kind of got cut. So it was like, damn, I wish, you know, back when we did them, we didn't know that they were gonna be radio push songs, and then when we found out, it was, yeah, this ain't gonna work here.
Okay, so your frame of mind, I'm getting like, because I remember when Issues had some features on their songs, like they had a feature with that one girl or whatever. I was like, who the hell is she? Like I had no idea. So kind of like someone that you're actually like friends with, rather than like say like getting someone from like Wage War or like something like that.
Hey, funny thing though. I don't know if I told you this, Alex, but the last time that I was in Nashville, when we did demo work, one song we completely wrote. It was me, Andrew, and Cody Q from Wage War. That song turned out excellent, and when we wrote the vocal, you know, the vocal melodies and all that, he tracked a lot of the parts, but some, like, just as like the whatever, I'm like listening to it and then I'm singing over top of it, like the
backtrack
thing. Yeah, so like I'm listening to his voice, and my producer just like tuned some of the like rough track vocals that he put down in the chorus, and we used them as harmony in the rough demo. And I was like, he looked at me, he was like, probably just keep him in there. I was like, there you go, dude, featured by Cody Q. Yeah, dude, there's a band called Holding Absence. They put out a new record a few months back, and there's a female that sings on one of the songs. She's got a really elegant voice, and I found out that is his. I would love to have my sister on a track. She sings well, but I asked her if she would do it, and she was like, oh no, I do that. But that's the goal, to get my sister on the track.
Well, there we go. Hashtag get Nikki on a track.
I'm talking, but just mainly keep streaming Love No More. Appreciate all the support. And Alex, I appreciate you reaching out and having me. I'm not like knowledgeable on my dog's talking to. Stop.
the husky probs right there.
Yeah, I'm not super knowledgeable on the MCU, but I'm about to. This dog is getting on my damn.
All right, well, we'll take that as a sign to close things out right there.
Yeah,
but we'll also have a link for Savage Hands' new single "Love No More" down in the description below as well. So if you guys are here live, thank you for joining us today, and if you're here just watching the VOD, well, thank you for watching. Tune in next week. We got some more news. We'll actually see if we can pull some of the bigger news from this week into next week's video. But next week we are doing our Loki pregame show, which is especially awesome because Loki is going to be airing on Wednesdays. Our show is normally on Tuesdays, so it's pretty fucking perfect. So yeah, if there are any topics you'd like to see us cover on this channel, please leave a comment down below. And
more
if you
box.
like in a box,
more box.
And if you want to help support us, you want this channel to keep doing what it's doing, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're friends with me on Facebook or friends with any of these fellow gentlemen on any social medias, please share it, because a little goes a long way. Also, both Jagger and I also stream on Twitch, so be sure to follow us there. Jagger usually likes to do a pre-game show. I normally like to do a post-game show, but Thursday is usually my day off, so after this I will be signing off. Yeah, that's about it. Everyone here, have an awesome night. Check out these guys, these wonderful guests that we have here. Check out their links down the description box. And that is it. That is episode 12 of Comic Relief, and I hope you guys have a wonderfully nerdy night. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Box.